Chapter 9. From there, I explored another striking prophecy found in Ezekiel 26, which foretells the fall of Tyre, a wealthy and fortified Phoenician city on the Mediterranean coast. Ezekiel predicted that many nations would rise against Tyre like waves crashing upon the shore. He foretold that the city's walls and towers would be demolished, that its rubble would be scraped away, and that it would become a place for spreading fishing nets. 3 years later, the first part of this prophecy came true. In 586 BC, Nebuchadnezzar besieged the mainland city of Tyre for 13 years, eventually destroying it. Most of the population, however, escaped to a nearby island about a half-mile offshore. There, they rebuilt Tyre as a wealthy island fortress, protected by thick sea walls and strategic geography. The city continued to thrive for centuries. But Ezekiel's prophecy wasn't finished. In 332 BC, during his sweeping conquest of the Persian Empire, Alexander the Great arrived at Tyre. Lacking a navy, he faced a challenge: how to reach the island city. His solution was nothing short of genius and fulfillment of prophecy. He and his architect Djutta built a massive causeway using the rubble from the destroyed mainland city. The debris was literally scraped bare, just as Ezekiel had said. The causeway allowed Alexander's forces to reach and conquer the island, bringing an end to its dominance. Yet even that was not the final fulfillment. Ezekiel had also declared that Tyre would never be rebuilt. For a city with such natural advantages, freshwater springs capable of sustaining a large population and a prime location for trade, this seemed unthinkable. And yet it happened. After a long sequence of invasions, including by Greeks, Romans, Muslims, and Crusaders, Tyre was finally destroyed for good in AD 1291. Remarkably, it was never rebuilt. In fact, during the 1800s, archaeologists observed fishermen drying their nets on the rocks of what had once been one of the wealthiest cities in the ancient world, exactly as Ezekiel had foretold. They will destroy the walls of Tyre and pull down her towers. I will scrape away her rubble and make her a bare rock. Out in the sea she will become a place to spread fish nets. Ezekiel 26 verses 4-5. To this day, Tyre remains a shell of its former self, and each fulfilled word of prophecy stands as a quiet testimony that the God who spoke through Daniel and Ezekiel is real, active in history, and faithful to his word. Chapter 10. Returning to the book of Daniel, we find yet another powerful and historically grounded prophecy, this time involving King Belshazzar, the co-regent and king. During a grand feast attended by 1,000 of his nobles, Belshazzar commanded that the sacred gold and silver goblets, originally taken by Nebuchadnezzar from the temple of God in Jerusalem, be brought out so that he, his guests, his wives, and his concubines could drink from them. As they drank the wine, they openly praised the gods of gold, silver, bronze, iron, wood, and stone, idols created by human hands. This act of defiance and sacrilege provoked the wrath of the one true God. Suddenly, a divine hand appeared and began writing mysterious words on the wall of the palace near the lampstand. The king, visibly shaken, watched as the fingers inscribed the message. None of his wise men could interpret it, so Daniel was summoned. He boldly delivered the meaning of the writing, as recorded in Daniel 5 verses 25-28, 30-31. This is the inscription that was written: Min tekel parsin. Here is what these words mean. Min: God has numbered the days of your reign and brought it to an end. Tekel: you have been weighed on the scales and found wanting. Perez: your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. That very night Belshazzar, king of the Babylonians, was slain, and Darius the Mede took over the kingdom at the age of 62. This prophecy was fulfilled immediately and with startling precision. Today, both archaeological evidence and ancient historical records confirm the swift and unexpected fall of Babylon. The Babylonian chronicles and the Cyrus cylinder state that Babylon was taken without battle. Greek historians Herodotus and Xenophon, while describing it as a siege, still confirm the suddenness and decisiveness of the conquest. Either way, Babylon fell effortlessly, just as Daniel had predicted. In 539 BC, King Cyrus of Persia set out to do what seemed impossible: to conquer the unconquerable city of Babylon. His strategy was both daring and brilliant. He ordered trenches to be dug upstream from the city, diverting the waters of the Euphrates River into a massive reservoir. As the river level fell, Persian soldiers waited for nightfall. Under cover of darkness, they crept through the shallow riverbed and slipped beneath the city's massive outer gates. However, this plan could have backfired. Babylon had internal brass and iron gates controlling access from the riverbed into the city. If these had been secured, the Persians would have been trapped in a deadly funnel, vulnerable to volleys of arrows and spears. The Babylonians could have slaughtered every last invader like fish in a barrel. Yet, in a twist that defies military logic, there were no guards posted, and the inner gates were left wide open. On the very night of the invasion, Belshazzar, the soldiers, and the imperial guard were all indulging in drunken revelry. They were so distracted by drinking and games that they failed to defend the city at all. Because of this staggering lapse in security, the Persian troops walked straight through Babylon's gates and took the city with little to no resistance. The Babylonians, caught completely off guard, including their king, fell in a single night. With this, King Cyrus toppled the Babylonian Chaldean Empire, reshaping the course of world history. Remarkably, Daniel had prophesied it all, from the divine warning on the wall to the precise fall of a mighty empire. Once again, biblical prophecy proved not only spiritually profound, but historically and archaeologically accurate.